What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Arc podcast. Do me a favor, like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this kind of content. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 teams with problems that not a lot of people are talking about. So if you do enjoy it, comment down below what your number one team is. Let's rank them, whole 9 yards. Let's have a conversation in the comments down below. Now, these are teams that a lot of teams during Summer League are getting a lot of praise for, i.e. the Spurs are getting a ton of praise. The Rockets made a move for Kevin Durant. The Celtics are putting a season on the back burner because of their injuries, whole 9 yards. Today, we're going to be talking about those teams, though, that are kind of flying under the radar that have a lot of issues that aren't really being seen. So let's start out with the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers have an issue. Of course, their next season is going to be put on the back burner as well because of the injury to Tyrese Halliburton. He's not going to play next season, so they're not going to make this massive run and push for a championship. The issue here, the owners don't want to pay their players. Right? Miles Turner is a milestone guy that spent his entire career in Indiana. A guy who every team at the trade deadline makes a call about. Why on earth would you not re-sign him or at least try some sign-and-trade deal so you can get assets back in return? Same thing, you look at, if you're getting a call, it was the same thing with like Cam Johnson, which finally the deal got done, right? Just players in general that you have a ton of value because he is a floor spacing big who can block shots, he can rim run, whole 9 yard, everything you look for in a center he can do. Besides, he does lack a little bit on the rebounding side, but he still can rebound the ball. And honestly, he spaces that floor for a lot of those dynamic players who want to attack the basket. I know for sure the Lakers made calls about Miles Turner. I know for sure other teams have made calls about Miles Turner. Now, I'll get into his landing spot in Milwaukee, but let's talk about this next season for the Pacers. So currently, the starting lineup looks like Andrew Nembhard at the 1, Benedict Mathurin at the 2, Aaron Nesmith, Pascal Siakam, and Tony Bradley. Of course, one position speaks volume and is a big gaping hole, and that's that center position because you only have Tony Bradley, your backup being Jay Huff, right? You got Isaiah Jackson there as well, but who knows? Those 3, I mean, it screams you need to make a move for a center. Of course, right now is not the time necessarily to make that move unless, like, Nembhard, Mathurin, Nesmith, Pascal Siakam seems like a pretty solid 4 right there. The issue is that center spot, right? So next season is kind of just, what do you do if you're a Pacers fan? You hope that these young guys, they flourish, they kind of give Pascal Siakam some time off because, of course, he signed a 4-year deal, so he'll be here through that 2027-2028 year. And then you hope, give Jarris Walker some time. See if he actually can develop and provide some value. And maybe you move off of him at the trade deadline, but at least give him an opportunity to shine and open up that value for him. Same thing with seeing what Ben Shepherd's all about. Johnny Furphy, of course, had that nasty dunk during Summer League. What can he do? Can he provide you serviceable minutes there? And then just seeing where you're at with Andrew Nembhard. Can he be, the number 2 option that you're really looking for or number 3 option that you're really looking for? Or is it time to inflate his value because next season is going to be a bit of a tank season and you move off of him either by trade deadline or by the offseason? It's just interesting to see a player who has spent their entire career, they're on the trajectory that when they retire, their number's probably going to be retired, that being Miles Turner. It is crazy to see him leave and go over to a place like Milwaukee, who is the division rival. You got to face Miles Turner 4 times now, and not only do you have to face him 4 times, but also you have to face the Bucks and Giannis 4 times next season, and you gave the Bucks the perfect piece that they need to put alongside Giannis, and that's Miles Turner, a spacing big. So they moved off of Brook Lopez, and they got Miles Turner. a better version of Brook Lopez, right? Blocks shots, extends the floor, spaces it for Giannis, sets screens, rim runs. He does everything you kind of want. So the Pacers are in an awkward and tough spot, and I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of issues there going forward. How does this look to somebody like Tyrese Halliburton, too? Do you think that Indiana should have gone to him and been like, yo, look, we're going to move off of Miles Turner. We're going to be looking to tank this next season and kind of get you a high draft pick to see what we can do for you in the future. But let's move on to the number 2 team that we're going to be talking about that not a lot of people are talking about that have a lot of problems, and that's the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, I know they, of course, have Anthony Edwards. They got Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley, right? Solid starting 5. The problem here that I see is the West got so much better. Kevin Durant to the Rockets, right? The Spurs, it seems that the Spurs drafted very well. They still have De'Aaron Fox there. They still have Stephon Castle, Victor Wembanyama, right? Carter Bryant looks like a serviceable wing for them. It's like the pieces seem to be falling in the right place. They might be 1 year out, but what I see is they're growing. There's a lot of teams that are moving up, and that means that teams are going to be falling down in those standings, and the Timberwolves could be one of those teams, right? The Lakers just signed Marcus Smart. Like they're actively making moves. They're making moves to possibly move off of Dalton Connect to consolidate, to get more talent on this roster to win now. So with that being said, there's going to be some adjustments, right? The Mavericks have Cooper Flagg, and they'll get Kyrie back, and they have Anthony Davis, so they'll be flying up the rankings too. The Denver Nuggets, they consolidated Michael Porter Jr. to go get more depth. They got better. Russell Westbrook is still sitting on the market there to go over to, he'll probably go to a contending team. I don't think he wants to spend the rest of his career in some team that's not going to be competing for a championship. So he could help out the West as well. But the Timberwolves kind of took a step back, right? The only move you really did was you, of course, rehabbed Rob Dillingham to get him healthier. Now he's playing Summer League, which it's been all right. He's been making some nice passes and everything like that. But there's question marks about his body size and the defensive side of the ball. And then you lost Nickeil Alexander-Walker, a crucial piece to your playoff run. So you then look at the future and it's like everyone else got better, yet you kind of took a step back. What's the next direction and what's the next move here? Is Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards enough? It doesn't really feel like that because you're going to run into Oklahoma City, who can defend you very well. They can score the ball very well. Houston is going to be in that same boat. Houston, a number 2 seed in the West, got better by adding Kevin Durant, right? Like these teams are getting better around you and you're not doing that. What is going on here? That needs to be discussed more. So that's something that, of course, you will hope that Rob Dillingham takes a jump. Dante DiVincenzo, he takes a little bit of a leap, right? But overall, like it's kind of just, they took a step down and I expect a little bit of a regression there. Staying in the West, we're going to talk about the Phoenix Suns. Now, the Phoenix Suns were on the other end of that Kevin Durant deal. The issue with the Phoenix Suns, I do kind of agree with the whole waiving Bradley Beal, similar to the Bucks with Damian Lillard, and I can discuss more about Damian Lillard here in a second. But the Suns specifically, you kind of had to figure out some way. The experiment pretty much failed for Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. Since that experiment failed, you kind of bit the bullet, you waived him, you're going to move on, right? That's a good thing. Start it now, might as well get it over with. But this starting lineup and this bench just sounds awful. Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Royce O'Neal, Dylan Brooks, Mark Williams, right? Colin Gillespie is your backup, Grayson Allen, Ryan Dunn, Maluach, backup center, right? Like that doesn't sound fantastic. You got Rasheer Fleming that's sitting back there that hopefully he'll turn out to be something. I do like that pickup actually. right there. It's just, I don't know what direction the Suns can really go, except for use Jalen Green as an asset to expand, right? You pretty much at the beginning of the year, similar to how I was saying with Jarris Walker with the Pacers, you almost inflate his value. Give him the ball, let him do his thing. His numbers theoretically, hopefully, will go up. And then at the deadline, you move him. Or in the offseason, you move him. He's got that awkward contract where it's like a 2+1 player option at the end of it. Or I think it's actually a team option. But Jalen Green will have value to some teams. I predict Jalen Green's entire career to be similar to a Jordan Clarkson, a serviceable six-man coming off your bench. That way he could just go in and huck up shots against the second unit. And it's not a big deal. If he's having a rough game, you just pull him. Right? That's where I see Jalen Green's trajectory to go. Nothing against him personally. I just think his play style and everything, he needs to learn how to be a better playmaker. And we can't see your top scorer in the playoffs have 8 points in a game, in one of the most important games in the series. It just shouldn't happen. And yeah, outside of Devin Booker, like I don't think the Devin Booker Jalen Green is going to mesh well. It's similar to like a Bradley Beal Devin Booker. It just didn't really mesh well. Now, on the flip side for Bradley Beal, I'm excited for his role with the Clippers. They got something going on over there, and they're not on this list today. They would be on a list of more what people are talking about. I hope Mark Williams can pan out to be something. I'm a little concerned about his size, but of course he has a long wingspan. It's similar to like a Wendell Carter-esque, where he's only like 6'9", but he plays a lot bigger than he actually is. Same thing with like Draymond Green. But, of course, Wendell Carter's a center and Draymond's power forward. I just think that the Suns, what I respect about the Suns is they at least try, right? They tried with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and they made the finals. Then they're like, okay, how do we beat the Bucks? Well, let's go get a small forward who's 6'11", who can shoot the three ball. So we go get Kevin Durant. And then why not take a swing on another star in the league at one point, a guy who averaged 30 points a game, Bradley Beal? Sure, bring him on over. Like, I respect at least that they're taking swings, because there's some teams that just won't take swings. You know, we look at teams like the Kings, never take swings. They wait too late to take a swing, and then now they're sitting in the Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan BS that's over there. That's just, who knows what's going on. Same thing with Indiana. They don't take swings. They did take a swing on getting Pascal Siakam, and I respect that. Go get your star, right? But then you let Miles Turner walk. Just doesn't make sense. Now you look at the Suns, they at least took the swing, and now they're trying to adapt, and they're trying to do their best, but they're just kind of caught in this little bit of a no man's land until those few further years expand, and then they're able to move around with more first-round picks. That might help them out more, and they get off of that Bradley Beal contract a little bit more, helps them get into that, get more salary cap. Let's move on to our second to last team. This one's out in the East, and it's the Miami Heat. I have a lot of question marks about this roster. I think that eventually you have to make a decision about Nikola Jovic, and you have to make a decision about Jaime Jaquez. Right? Jaime Jaquez had a great rookie year, which we expected. He was a little bit older of a player than most that came into the league at that year, being that he had played multiple seasons for, in college before he came into the NBA. And then after that, same thing with Nikola Jovic, right? Played overseas, whole 9 yards. You expect jumps to come in, year after year. You want players to progress and get better. Jaime Jaquez had a sophomore slump. I mean, let's be honest, he did. Nikola Jovic doesn't touch the floor a ton as we expected. I thought he was going to be, I still think he has a lot of potential. I just don't think that he's in the right system for him. So right now their starting lineup though is Tyler Hero, Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo, Kel'el Ware. And although on paper that doesn't sound too bad, it just screams that they're missing a star, right? If Andrew Wiggins lived up to the hype that he was projected to be, yeah, this roster probably would be pretty solid, right? Davion Mitchell, solid piece to back you up. Haywood Highsmith is not bad. Terry Rozier, pretty rough. I liked the Yakuchonis draft pick. But overall, this roster is definitely has a lot of question marks, and I have a lot of question marks around Khalil Ware now. It seems as if he doesn't fit Heat culture. His motor, there's question marks around that. Eric Spoelstra's having a tough time with getting him to be involved and want to get better and practice whole 9 yards. So the Heat need to do something, right? They were tied into KD and that whole mess, but they couldn't offer a package nearly what Houston could offer. Same thing, they're always involved in these deals, trying to get into the Donovan Mitchell sweepstakes before he went to Cleveland and whole 9 yards. It just never falls through so far. The good thing is they don't draft terribly. I think Jaime Jaquez will have a better season this year, but they don't really look like they have this great, bright future. I don't know about Tyler Hero as this starting number 1 or number 2 or even a number 3 option. I'm kind of concerned with that. I think defensive liability, yes, he can score the ball like no other, but realistically, what is his ceiling? It doesn't seem like it's as high as we might have once thought, right? On a winning, contending team. And yeah, they made the finals once, but a lot of that is because of Jimmy Butler and what Jimmy Butler was able to do with this team and carry. We've seen Jimmy Butler time and time again carry rosters, do what is necessary to provide and carry. And so last but not least, the last team that we're going to be talking about that I always want to talk about because they should be so much in so much of a better spot than they currently are. And it's the Charlotte Hornets. Yes, in theory, the Charlotte Hornets have a super young team that has a bright future. But at what point does the rebuild stop? At what point is something just going wrong? And at what point do you move off of that young star that just isn't working out? And I mean LaMelo Ball. I think LaMelo Ball's game is fantastic when he's on the court. The issue is you invest so much into a player and you build around him, bringing in guys like Brandon Miller, you bring in Con Knipple who can shoot the ball, right? You have Miles Bridges, Mason Plumlee, Trey Mann off the bench, Colin Sexton, Josh Green, Grant Williams, right? You've got a lot around LaMelo Ball. The problem is, if he plays 40 games, that leaves out 40 games he didn't play. I think that ideally, he sounds like a model point guard. 6'8", super long, able to pass the ball like no other, can score the rock when he needs to. But he's more of a pass-first player. The issue is he's not on the court. LaMelo Ball, it's time for... And if I was him, I would want to move on too. I'm sick and tired of these 35-win seasons, these 18-win seasons, these 20-win seasons. Like, I understand he's young, but it's time to start winning games or wanting to win games. Going to the office and being like, yo, we got to make some moves. I'm sick and tired of swinging for the fences on draft picks and constant rebuild. How about we take those draft picks and go get a star? Right? How about we go do something? I want to build something here in Charlotte, sure, but I want to win. And with that, I do think that it's time to move off of him. And if you're Charlotte, you can get a lot for him. Why not? You might be able to get a star in return, right? Like, there's going to be some disgruntled star. It always happens, always will, right? Where they're just not enjoying what's going on with the organization. This upcoming season, we could be looking at someone like Anthony Edwards, where they just have a ceiling. Just like I talked about earlier in the video, the Timberwolves have a ceiling where they got worse. So you then are like, if you're Charlotte, you're like, hey, what do you want for Anthony Edwards? Do you want LaMelo? Or are you more interested in future draft assets? We've got it. We've got everything you want here. We've got young talent, right? We've got solid contracts to match his money, i.e. Miles Bridges and Grant Williams and so on and so forth. We have interesting, intriguing pieces, Trey Mann, Colin Sexton, that are sitting there. Like there's a lot here that they could do with if they package it together and move off of it. There's opportunity. I think Charlotte, they're a disappointing team because they have the opportunity to finally do something, and it just feels like they're not going to do it, right? You're taking swings on Tejan Salone and all that, and but this year I have a couple question marks on Con Knipple. His defensive side of the ball needs some work. It's clear as day he can shoot the three ball, and it is clear as day he can score the ball. But does this team, I mean, I guess they need the scoring, someone to space the floor to help LaMelo, but what about the defensive side of the ball? Like, it seems like they got plenty of scoring. You could have talked to Philly about possibly moving up to get VJ Edgecombe, because he seems like VJ Edgecombe screamed that he would be the perfect fit in Charlotte. I'm excited for what he's about to do in Philly, but I really think that he would have been perfect for Charlotte. And then they had to kind of settle with Con Knipple. I do think that Liam McNeely was a solid pickup, solid draft pick there. Trading Colin Sexton for Yusuf Nurkic, solid, like nothing crazy. You signed Spencer Dinwiddie, which, I'm not too fond of. Like, it is what it is kind of signing. But there's a lot of opportunity here for Charlotte to finally take an opportunity and be like, all right, we're done with these bubble and below seasons. It's time to finally make the playoffs. Especially this year, when you have the Pacers, who are going to regress because Tyrese Halliburton won't be there. The Celtics, who have injuries. The Sixers always have injuries. The Bulls are not good. The Raptors, who knows what the Raptors are doing. The East is wide open for a team to take it over. Of course, you're going to have to beat the Knicks. You're going to have to, but I'm not even talking about getting past round one. Just get to round one. Win a game or two in the playoffs. Do something. That's what I'm getting at with the Hornets. Is it's finally time for them to lock up and finally do something and stop being in rebuild mode. Let's get a deep playoff push with the Charlotte Hornets. Disgruntled star, go get him. Right? It's out there. You can go do it. Like, you're telling me Anthony Edwards, for the right package, you could go get him. Yeah, you're going to have to compete with, probably like teams like the Spurs. Houston always has assets. The Thunder would probably make a call because they have so much assets. They might, not be sweating it too much just because they just won a championship. Why blow up that roster? But, the Celtics will probably make a call because they've got assets there. There's a lot of teams with assets, but the Hornets, they've got everything you kind of want. Young talent, draft capital, and the possibility that they're going to be garbage, so your draft pick is going to be so much better. So I think that the Hornets need to start stepping it up. But yeah, these are 5 teams that I don't think a lot of people are talking about too much. Or if they are talking about them, they're kind of like giving them a pass because the Pacers, there's injuries. The Suns, Bradley Beal moving on. So, shout out to them. The Heat missed out on KD, but I'm not here for the excuses. I'm here for, let's talk about the problems, the issues that are going on. You got to start talking about those. The Hornets cannot be sitting in, how long they've been doing a rebuild? Seriously. It's been what? My entire life. I'm 26 years old. I've never seen them make this deep playoff run or anything like that. This year is the year to do it. Go take that swing. Houston did it. Go take the swing. Right? It's the year to do so. So without further ado, guys, it's been another Beyond the Arc episode. Do me a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment down below what you guys thought of these 5 disappointing teams. Who else is on your list? Could it be Sacramento? That was one honorable mention. Could it be somebody like Boston not swinging for Damian Lillard or something like that? Let me know in the comments down below. So, like I said, it's been another Beyond the Arc episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.